Thank you very much. First of all, let me just say I agree with Chair Lady Waters. This is an extraordinarily important hearing. And because of this fact, China is now the second largest economic system in the world next to ours. And, uh, and though we have some very starkly different foreign policy and political differences with China, as the whole world knows, but this one fact is true. China cannot be ignored as a global power in the global economy. And China's growth and substantial share of the global economy means this: we've got to carefully consider China's role in our own financial system. At the top of the line, the United States investment companies and pension funds have a fiduciary duty, best interest to their investors. They have to act prudently in order to minimize the risk of large losses. So, Ms. Xu, let me ask you this question. It is sort of a three-point question, but all comes together. Are investments in Chinese companies inherently more risky, and are investments, and does China's OPEC regulatory regime make them more risky? And finally, would reducing investments in Chinese-owned companies improve pension plans' performance and stability? Ms. Xu.
Thank you. Chinese companies trading, whether domestically or listed on overseas exchanges, are inherently more risky for a number of reasons, some of which my fellow panelists have spoken on, but including one of the reasons being VIEs. And variable interest entities are a way in which Chinese companies can circumvent certain domestic laws, but also enter US markets using different jurisdictions. And the way that the conversation has played out over the past couple of months, the U.S. has been wondering whether China was planning to actually clamp down on the use of VIEs. They are technically legal in China, and so there's this question: is this going to be a problem? Is this going to resolve the problem? Going to resolve itself? But in last December, the Chinese equivalent of China's SEC released a rule saying that VIEs were actually okay. There are certain policies in place, but business as usual. And this type of event goes to show how much of Chinese financial policymaking is, again, capricious and unpredictable. A lot of times it is led by domestic priorities rather than market reasons, and there's a lot that goes into Chinese policymaking that is not necessarily profit-driven. And because of that, Chinese companies and Chinese securities are inherently more risky. And really quickly, for your last point about pension funds, I will say that the Tennessee, I think TCRS, Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System, might be the only pension fund in the United States that has little to no exposure to China or Russia. And that's because they invest in country-specific ETFs and have used a democracy weighting system, and they still outperform many other pension funds. So it is possible. It just matters whether or not an administrator is willing to take that stand and also willing to make that shift for all of the constituents.
Excellent, and I agree with you too, and I think your remarks were right on target.